You are standing on the edge of something greater than yourself. I know it, because I've been there too, where your lungs burn, your muscles tremble, and your mind whispers, "Enough, quit now." That voice will try to convince you that this is the end. But hear me carefully. This is not the end. This is the test. This is the doorway. Every champion, every fighter, every legend stood in this exact moment, torn between quitting and stepping forward. And those who chose to take just one more step carved their names into eternity. That is where winners are made. Not when it feels easy, not when it feels safe, but in the moments where everything inside you says stop, and you choose to rise anyway. So if you're ready to learn, stay with me, because today I will show you why the difference between failure and greatness is nothing more than one more step. One pain is proof you are close. When your body begins to ache, when sweat pours down your face and stings your eyes, when every breath feels like fire burning in your chest, it is natural to think you are finished. In that moment, most people believe they are at the very edge of their strength, that they cannot push any further. But the truth is that pain is not a wall that blocks you. It is a signal, a sign that you are standing right on the border of transformation. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is proof that you are close to something greater, that your body and your mind are breaking free from old limits. The weak often misinterpret pain. They see it as a warning to stop, to turn back, to surrender before they are broken. They allow pain to trick them into believing that the struggle is dangerous rather than necessary. But the strong see differently. The strong recognize that pain is the language of growth, the very process by which change takes place. It is like the fire that purifies metal, burning away what is weak and leaving only what is strong. Pain is not here to punish you. It is here to awaken you, to strip away your comfort, to reveal what you are truly capable of becoming. Every struggle you go through carries within it the seed of growth. The soreness of your muscles, the exhaustion in your bones, the frustration in your mind, all of these are signals that your old self is cracking open, that a stronger version of you is trying to emerge. Just as a seed must break before it grows into a tree, you too must break through pain to grow into your full potential. If you avoid this stage, you remain trapped in the shell of who you are now, never discovering the greatness that lies within. Remember this simple truth. If you run from pain, you are also running from progress. If you stop the moment it hurts, you are stopping just short of the breakthrough. Victory does not belong to those who never feel pain. It belongs to those who endure it, those who walk through it and keep moving. The people who rise above are not the ones who avoid discomfort, but the ones who lean into it, who take one more step when others retreat. So the next time pain shows up, do not curse it. Do not fear it. Do not let it convince you that you have reached your end. Instead, recognize it as the sign that you are close, that you are exactly where you need to be. Pain is not the signal to stop. It is the proof that you must continue, because on the other side of that pain is the transformation you have been chasing. And the only way to claim it is to endure, to press forward, and to take one more step when everything inside you tells you to quit. 2. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Everyone has dreams. Every person imagines a life where they are stronger, wiser, richer, or more fulfilled than they are today. Some dream of building great success, others dream of mastering their craft, and many dream of finding peace and happiness within themselves. But dreams, no matter how beautiful, remain only images in your mind if they are not followed by action. They are like clouds in the sky, shifting, changing, and eventually fading away. What turns a dream into reality is not chance, nor luck, nor sudden opportunity. It is discipline. Discipline is the force that builds the bridge from where you stand today to the place you wish to reach tomorrow. Discipline is not glamorous. It does not excite the way a dream does. A dream is sweet. It gives you comfort and hope. But discipline is demanding. It asks you to rise when you would rather rest, to work when you would rather play, to continue when you would rather quit. Most people fail not because their dreams are too small, but because they refuse to embrace discipline. They want the reward, but not the struggle, the success, but not the sacrifice. They forget that every great achievement has been paid for with countless hours of work, repetition, and sacrifice. When I trained, I did not rely on how I felt. Feelings are unreliable. They rise and fall like waves in the ocean. If I waited for motivation, I would have never reached mastery. Motivation is like a flame lit by the wind. It burns bright for a moment and flickers out. But discipline is different. Discipline is a fire that continues to burn because you feed it daily, regardless of how you feel. It does not ask for inspiration. It demands commitment. Discipline is the choice you make every day to do what must be done whether you want to or not. Discipline requires consistency, and consistency creates results. A single punch practiced once will not make you powerful. A kick attempted once will not give you mastery, but a punch practiced 10,000 times, a kick drilled until your muscles ache and your bones throb, that is what shapes mastery. The difference between the one who dreams of greatness and the one who achieves it lies in this repetition. The dreamer speaks of potential, the disciplined one lives it. Discipline is also honesty. It is the refusal to lie to yourself. When you avoid the hard work, when you make excuses, when you let laziness take control, you may fool others, but you cannot fool yourself. You will know that you have betrayed your potential. But when you live with discipline, when you do what is required day after day, you carry with you the confidence of someone who has earned their progress. Discipline builds not only skill but character. It makes you reliable, trustworthy, unshakable in your pursuit. And let me tell you something essential. Discipline is freedom. Many believe discipline is a cage, a prison that steals joy. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline frees you from the chains of weakness, from the trap of inconsistency, from the endless cycle of starting and quitting. With discipline, you are no longer a slave to your moods, to your distractions, to your fears. Discipline allows you to take control of your life and direct it with purpose. It gives you the power to shape yourself into the person you want to become, instead of drifting aimlessly. When you see someone who has achieved greatness, do not be deceived into thinking it happened by chance. Behind their success lies years of discipline. Behind every performance is thousands of hours of practice. Behind every victory is countless small sacrifices. Dreams light the path, but discipline is the step-by-step march along it. Without discipline, you remain forever at the starting point, staring at the horizon but never moving closer. So understand this clearly. Discipline is not an enemy. It is your ally, your bridge, your weapon. It is the force that makes the difference between wishing and achieving, between imagining and becoming. Build discipline, and you build the foundation for everything else in your life. Without it, you will always be left with unfulfilled dreams and wasted potential. With it, you can transform every dream into reality, one step at a time. 3. The mind quits before the body. Your body is far stronger than you realize. But most people never discover this truth because their mind convinces them to stop long before their body has reached its limit. Think about the last time you pushed yourself in training, in work, or in life. Did your muscles truly fail you, or was it your thoughts that whispered, "This is too much, you cannot continue, you have reached the end"? That voice inside your head is the first wall you encounter on the path to mastery, and it is a wall built not of real weakness, but of fear, doubt, and the memory of past failures. The body is capable of extraordinary endurance, but the mind often acts like a prison guard, shutting down your effort long before you have tapped into your true strength. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary lies in how they respond to that mental voice. The ordinary person hears it, believes it, and obeys. They stop, they turn back, they quit, thinking they have reached their maximum. But the extraordinary one, the fighter, the disciplined warrior, hears the same voice and refuses to surrender to it. They recognize that this voice is not truth, it is simply resistance, the mind's natural attempt to protect itself from discomfort. And when they push past that voice, when they refuse to quit, they discover something remarkable. The body still has energy left, still has fight left, still has strength hidden deep within. I have learned through training and through life that the mind is the first to surrender, not the body. When I pushed myself in martial arts, when I trained until exhaustion, I came to understand that what I thought was my limit was only the edge of my comfort zone. Beyond that edge lay untapped reserves of power that could only be revealed if I pushed further. It was in the moments when I ignored the urge to quit, when I silenced the mind and demanded more from myself, that I reached new levels of speed, precision, and endurance. The body always had more to give. It was the mind that had to be conquered first. This is why mental discipline is the foundation of physical mastery. If you cannot control your mind, you cannot control your body. If you allow doubt to take root, if you believe the excuses your mind feeds you, you will never rise beyond mediocrity. But when you train your mind to resist that urge to quit, when you teach it to remain calm in the storm, when you master the art of focus, you unlock a strength that feels limitless. Suddenly what once felt impossible becomes achievable, and what once felt like weakness turns into resilience. The mind is like a wild horse. It will resist you, fight you, and try to throw you off. If you let it run free, it will drag you into fear and surrender. But if you learn to hold the reins, if you learn to direct it with discipline, it will carry you farther than you ever imagined. Most people never tame their minds, and so they never discover the power within their bodies. They live in chains not because their body is weak, but because their mind has convinced them they are. Secret, then, is to train your mind to endure what it resists. When the voice says, "You cannot," answer back with, "I must." When the thought arises that you are finished, remember that you are not even close. When you want to stop, take one more step, one more repetition, one more attempt. Each time you do, you weaken the grip of that false voice, and you strengthen your true will. Over time, the mind learns that it does not control you, you control it. And when that shift happens, your potential expands beyond measure. Understand this. Your body holds more power than you know. It is the mind that places limits. And those limits are illusions. Break those illusions, and you break the chains holding you back. This is why winners rise where others fall. Not because they are born stronger, but because they refuse to believe the lie of the quitting mind. They master themselves, and in mastering themselves, they unlock a strength the world cannot deny. So the next time your mind tells you to stop, do not listen. Dig deeper. Demand more. Push through. Because what waits beyond that mental barrier is not just physical strength, it is the discovery of who you truly are. 5 small steps create giants. When people look at success, they often imagine that it comes from one sudden leap, one moment of brilliance, or one extraordinary act that sets someone apart from the rest. They see the fighter holding the trophy, the artist standing before applause, or the man who has built his empire, and they believe it was destiny or luck or some rare gift that carried him there. But this is a false picture. Greatness is not born in a single strike. Giants are not created overnight. What builds true power, mastery, and strength are not big leaps, but the small steps repeated daily, the small victories accumulated quietly, the small habits maintained when no one is watching. The world often celebrates the result, but it does not honor the repetition that built it. When I trained, I did not become strong because I kicked once with passion. I became strong because I kicked thousands of times with discipline. I did not master a punch because I tried it once with intensity. I mastered it because I drilled it again and again until it became part of me, until my muscles carried it like second nature. The truth is that the extraordinary is nothing more than the ordinary, done consistently with patience and focus. You must understand this deeply. Every small step matters. Every push-up, every run, every practice, every page you read, every single repetition you commit to, it is all counted. Even when no one notices, even when no one applauds, even when it feels insignificant, each small step is a stone in the foundation of your greatness. But most people do not respect the small step. They become impatient. They want instant results. They believe success should be quick and easy. And when progress feels too slow, they quit. They fail not because the dream was too far, but because they refuse to walk the path of small steps that would have led them there. Greatness demands patience. Think of a tree. You plant the seed, but you do not see the fruit tomorrow. First it roots itself in silence, unseen beneath the soil, strengthening itself where no one can witness. Then slowly it grows, inch by inch, until years later, it becomes a giant that provides shade, fruit, and strength to others. You are no different. Every act of discipline, every repeated effort, every step you take, even if it seems invisible now, is rooting you deeper, preparing you for the moment when your greatness will finally stand tall. Most people quit halfway, and that is why they never see results. They stop watering the seed. They stop practicing the skill. They stop taking the steps that build momentum. They underestimate how much power small steps carry. A man who commits to 10 push-ups every day will one day become stronger than the man who does 100 only once. A fighter who practices one kick thousands of times with precision will always defeat the fighter who practices 1,000 kicks once each. Repetition creates mastery, and mastery creates giants. The small step also builds character. It teaches you to be humble, to respect the process, to find power in patience. It teaches you to endure boredom, to embrace the grind, to trust in effort more than in instant results. When you walk the road of small steps, you develop an unshakable mind, because you know you are building piece by piece, layer by layer. And when the moment of challenge arrives, you will not tremble, because your strength is not an illusion, it is real, built from years of consistency. So do not despise small beginnings. Do not laugh at the small step. Do not think it is too little to matter. Remember, even mountains are climbed one step at a time, and oceans are crossed one stroke at a time. The journey to mastery, to greatness, to becoming a giant, is nothing more than small steps taken daily without quitting. Respect the process, trust the repetition, embrace the grind. For one day you will look back and realize that every small step you once thought was insignificant was in fact the very thing that turned you into a giant. 6. Quitting becomes a habit, so does winning. Every decision you make shapes you. Every action leaves an imprint on your spirit. And every time you choose to stop when things become difficult, you are not just quitting an activity. You are teaching yourself to become someone who quits. Quitting is not a single event. It is the planting of a seed, and if you water it with repetition, it grows into a tree that overshadows every part of your life. Each time you give up when the pressure rises, each time you surrender to the voice that tells you enough, you are building the identity of someone who cannot endure. And once that identity takes root, it spreads everywhere. You will quit in training, you will quit in relationships, you will quit in your goals, and you will quit in your dreams. The same is true for winning, but in reverse. Each time you endure when it hurts, each time you push through one more repetition, one more round, one more hour, you are carving into your spirit the identity of someone who refuses to stop. And when that identity grows, it too spreads into every part of your life. You begin to carry yourself differently. You begin to think differently. You begin to see obstacles not as walls but as tests, as opportunities to prove the strength you have been building. Winning is not just about a single victory. It is about becoming the kind of person who knows without doubt that no matter how hard the challenge, they will not back down. Understand this. Both quitting and winning are habits. Habits are chains at first, easy to break when they are light, but if you repeat them enough, they become thick ropes that bind you. When you quit once, you feel guilty. When you quit twice, you feel a little less guilty. When you quit a third time, it feels almost normal. And soon quitting becomes your comfort, your go-to solution whenever life becomes heavy. But when you resist quitting, when you decide to stand tall in the fire, when you take one more step despite the shaking of your body, you are forging a different habit, a stronger one. You are teaching yourself that pain is not the end, that difficulty is not defeat, that you are more powerful than your circumstances. Look around you. The world is full of people with talent, intelligence, and opportunity who still fail to achieve anything great. Why? Because they built the habit of quitting. And the world is also full of men and women who began with nothing, who were told they could not succeed, who faced rejection and failure again and again, but they kept going. They built the habit of winning, not because they always won immediately, but because they refused to quit. And eventually that refusal to quit turned into strength, and that strength carried them to greatness. Quitting becomes easier the more you do it. The mind remembers. The body remembers. The spirit remembers. The next time you face hardship, your inner voice will remind you of the times you walked away, and it will tempt you to do it again. But the same principle applies when you choose to endure. The next time you face hardship, that same voice will remind you that you have been here before, that you pushed through, that you survived, and that you emerged stronger. And that memory becomes your weapon, your reminder that you are a fighter, not a quitter. This is why the unseen moments matter. It is not only in the ring, on the stage, or in the arena where greatness is decided. It is in the dark hours when no one is watching, when you are tired, when you are tempted to stop. In those moments, the choice you make decides whether you are building the habit of quitting or the habit of winning. Do not underestimate those moments, for they are where your destiny is forged. So I ask you, what kind of habit are you building? Each day, with every choice, you are shaping yourself into either the one who always finds a reason to stop, or the one who always finds a way to continue. Winners are not crowned because of a single victory. They are crowned because of the years of decisions that taught them to endure. Quitting will try to disguise itself as relief, as rest, as escape. But it is none of these things. Quitting is the thief that robs you of what you could have become. Winning, on the other hand, demands pain, sacrifice, and patience, but in exchange it gives you strength, confidence, and an identity that no one can take away. Every time you are tempted to stop, remember that you are standing at a fork in the road. One path builds the habit of surrender, the other builds the habit of victory. And whichever path you choose today will be easier to walk tomorrow, because your spirit will already be trained for it. Do not let yourself fall into the habit of quitting. Train yourself to win, to endure, to continue. Because once winning becomes your habit, nothing in this world will be able to break you. 7. One more step is all it takes. The line that separates defeat from victory is far thinner than most people realize. It is not miles wide. It is not an impossible chasm. It is often nothing more than a single step. That one decision to continue, that one choice to try again, that one refusal to surrender when everything in you says it is over. That is where the battle is truly decided. Most people never see this because they quit just before the breakthrough. They give up when they are one swing away from breaking the wall, one strike away from shattering the barrier, one breath away from discovering their deeper strength. They let go, and so they never learn that victory was already within their reach. I have seen this truth again and again, not only in the ring but in life. Fighters who had the skill, the speed, and the strength, yet they lacked the will to endure that final moment of exhaustion. They would dominate for rounds, and yet when the pain became sharpest, when their bodies screamed for relief, they listened to the voice of weakness and surrendered. And I have seen others, less skilled, less talented, but filled with a stubborn spirit to endure. They refused to stop. They took the punches. They gasped for air, their vision blurred with sweat and blood, but they would not quit. And in that one more step forward, that one more swing, they turned defeat into victory. It is not always the strongest who win. It is the one who continues when others stop. This principle applies everywhere, not only in fighting. Look at the artist who paints stroke after stroke when inspiration has dried up. Look at the student who studies one more hour when the mind is already tired. Look at the builder who lays one more brick when his hands are blistered. Look at the man or woman who refuses to walk away from their dream, no matter how many times they have failed. These are the ones who achieve greatness, not because the path was easy, but because they took that one more step when it mattered most. Understand this clearly. Most people are not defeated by others. They are defeated by themselves. They lose not because the challenge was too great, but because they surrendered too soon. The mountain did not stop them. They stopped climbing. The opportunity did not disappear. They stopped pursuing it. The strength was not gone. They simply stopped digging for it. This is why I tell you, one more step is not just an action. It is a philosophy. It is a way of living where you decide, no matter what, that you will always go further than your excuses, further than your fear, further than your pain. The beauty of one more step is that it does not ask you to conquer everything at once. It does not demand that you leap to the top in a single motion. It only asks you for the next step, one more and then another, and another. Over time, those steps carry you across impossible distances. They turn weakness into strength, inexperience into mastery, and doubt into unshakable confidence, but only if you refuse to quit. Think about it. How many lives are wasted because people stopped just short of their breakthrough? How many gave up on their training, on their art, on their dreams just before the moment when everything would have shifted in their favor? History is filled with names we will never know. People who had the potential for greatness, but allowed quitting to steal it from them. Do not let yourself be counted among them. Refuse to quit when you are close. Refuse to stop when you are tired. Refuse to give in when the struggle feels endless. Because that one more step you take in defiance of all your pain may be the exact step that changes your entire destiny. I tell you this, not as a philosophy only, but as a law of life. Those who continue win. Not always immediately, not always in the way they imagined, but in the end, those who refuse to quit always rise above those who stop. That last step is where the weak are separated from the strong, where the dreamers are separated from the doers, where the ordinary are separated from the extraordinary. So remember this every time you face the voice that tells you to stop. You are not finished. You are not done. You are not at the end. You are only one step away from finding out how strong you really are. Take that step, and you will know what it means to be unstoppable. Take that step, and you will know what it means to be alive. Take that step, and you will prove to yourself and to the world that nothing can hold you down. Victory belongs to those who outlast the storm. Life will test you with storms, storms of pain, storms of doubt, storms of exhaustion, storms of failure. These storms are not meant to destroy you, though that is what they will feel like. They are meant to reveal you. They are designed to strip away the weak layers, to confront you with the raw truth of who you are. In those moments, it will not matter how talented you are, how smart you are, or how many resources you have. The storm does not care about your gifts. The storm respects only endurance. And those who outlast it, those who hold firm while everything around them shakes, those who refuse to bow when the winds roar the loudest, these are the ones who emerge victorious. Most people fall when the storm hits because they confuse struggle with defeat. The first wave of pain comes, and they believe it means they are not ready. The first failure comes, and they believe it is a sign that they should stop. They mistake resistance for rejection, when in truth resistance is the very path to mastery. But winners see storms differently. They see the storm as proof that they are on the right path, that the journey is real. For no one faces resistance while standing still. Resistance only comes to those who are moving forward. You must understand, storms are temporary. No matter how violent they seem, no matter how much they shake you, they always pass. The pain subsides, fear fades, fatigue softens, doubt weakens. But what remains after the storm is who you have become because of it. If you ran, if you surrendered, you are left smaller, weaker, broken in spirit. But if you endured, if you stood your ground, if you outlasted the storm, then when it clears, you stand taller, stronger, unshakable. The storm does not decide your fate. You do by choosing whether to stand or fall. Endurance is not glamorous. It does not look heroic in the moment. Often it looks quiet, invisible, even boring. It is choosing to rise for another day of training when your body aches. It is choosing to repeat the drill for the 1,000th time, even when your mind is tired of the monotony. It is choosing to stay focused on the goal when distractions pull at you from every direction. Endurance is not loud, it is steady, and it is relentless. But it is this very relentlessness that wears down every obstacle and outlasts every storm. When you think of victory, do not think only of sudden triumphs or great celebrations. True victory is the result of endurance. It is the quiet decision to stay in the fight again and again until the fight is finished. It is the refusal to surrender, not because you feel strong every moment, but because you know that quitting will only leave you empty. The strongest are not those who never stumble. They are the ones who stumble, fall, bleed, and still rise again. They are the ones who endure. I tell you this with certainty. Storms will come. They will come in your body as pain, in your mind as doubt, in your life as hardship. You cannot avoid them. You cannot outrun them. The only choice is whether you will outlast them. And if you do, you will discover a strength inside yourself that is greater than the storm, greater than the pain, greater than the fear. That strength will carry you not only through this battle, but through every battle that follows. Victory belongs to those who outlast the storm. It belongs to the fighter who refuses to fall, the dreamer who refuses to give up, the man or woman who refuses to let the world break them. If you want to know the secret of winners, it is this: they endure longer than everyone else. They wait out the storm, they push through the pain, they outlast the struggle. And when the storm finally breaks, they are the ones still standing. That is what makes them unstoppable. The battle is always within. The greatest fight you will ever face is not against another person, not in the ring, not in the arena, not in business, and not in society. The greatest battle is always the one fought within yourself. This is the fight that begins the moment you wake up each day and continues until you close your eyes at night. It is the battle between discipline and laziness, between courage and fear, between belief and doubt, between action and hesitation. Most people lose this inner fight long before they ever face an external challenge. They let their mind defeat them, they let their emotions control them, they let excuses rule over them. And so even though they may look alive on the outside, inside they are already conquered. Understand this truth. No opponent in the world can defeat you if you have not already been defeated within. The enemy outside can wound your body, but only the enemy within can break your spirit. Fear whispers in your ear, telling you to play it safe, to avoid risk, to stay in the comfort of what you already know. Doubt rises in your mind, telling you that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy of success. Laziness tempts you with the sweetness of ease, saying, "Rest now, you can work tomorrow." All of these forces live inside you, and they are far more dangerous than any opponent you could ever face. But just as you train your body with drills and repetition, you must train your inner world. The mind must be disciplined, the emotions must be tempered, the spirit must be sharpened like a blade. The fight inside is not won in a single day. It is won moment by moment, decision by decision. Each time you resist laziness, you strengthen your will. Each time you silence doubt, you build belief. Each time you act in spite of fear, you grow in courage. Slowly, piece by piece, you construct a warrior inside yourself. And when the warrior within is strong, no storm, no opponent, no obstacle can truly shake you. The weak live as prisoners of their inner battles. They are chained by fear, dragged down by doubt, enslaved by excuses. The strong, however, learn to master themselves. They are not without fear, but they move forward despite it. They are not without doubt, but they refuse to be paralyzed by it. They are not without fatigue, but they push forward anyway. Mastery is not the absence of struggle. It is the ability to fight and win against yourself every single day. You must look within and be honest. Do not lie to yourself. If laziness controls you, admit it. If fear rules you, admit it. If excuses have become your habit, admit it. For you cannot conquer what you refuse to face. But once you see it clearly, once you name the enemy within, you have already taken the first step toward defeating it. From there, every act of discipline becomes a strike. Every act of courage becomes a counterattack. Every act of persistence becomes a victory in this internal war. And here lies the ultimate truth. When you conquer yourself, the outside world becomes simple. No opponent, no obstacle, no hardship can overwhelm the man or woman who has mastered their inner world. The one who has silenced doubt, disciplined the mind, and strengthened the spirit cannot be broken by the battles of life. Their power is not borrowed, it is not dependent on circumstances, it is theirs, unshakable, carried within them everywhere they go. So never forget, the fight is not out there, it is in here. The fight is not with others, it is with yourself. And the day you learn to win this battle within, you will realize that there is no force outside of you that can truly stop you. For the greatest enemy has already been defeated, and the greatest victory has already been won. All of life is a journey of tests. You are tested by pain, by fatigue, by failure, by doubt, by storms that come without warning. Each of these tests asks you the same question: will you quit or will you continue? The weak retreat at the first sign of struggle, believing that life is unfair or that greatness was not meant for them. The strong, however, understand that every obstacle is not the end but the beginning. Pain is proof that you are close to transformation. Discipline is the bridge that carries you from your dream to your reality. The mind will try to quit before the body, but if you master the mind, the body will follow. Progress will never be found in comfort. It will always be discovered in discomfort, in sweat, in repetition. Giants are not born. They are built by the patience of small steps repeated over years. Quitting becomes a habit, and so does winning, and it is up to you which identity you choose to build. The storm will always come, but victory belongs to those who outlast it. And above all, the greatest fight you will ever face is not against the world, but within yourself. When you understand these truths, when you embody them, you will realize that the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one is often just one more step, one more push when you are tired, one more round when you are ready to fall, one more day of discipline when your mind begs for rest, one more refusal to quit when the world tells you it's over. This is where winners are made, not in moments of ease, not in flashes of luck, but in the fire of resistance, where you prove to yourself that you will not surrender. So I tell you now, do not quit. Do not stop when it hurts. Do not retreat when fear whispers in your ear. Take one more step, and then another. For every step you take in defiance of weakness, you are moving closer to the person you were born to become. You are carving yourself into a warrior, a master of your own destiny. And when you reach the end of your path, you will not look back with regret. You will look back with pride, knowing that you fought, that you endured, that you did not surrender. Remember this: the world does not remember those who almost made it, those who quit one step before the finish line. The world remembers those who continued, those who conquered themselves, those who refused to break. Be that person. Live that way. And you will know the truth I have always known, that victory, greatness, and transformation are not reserved for the chosen few. They belong to those who refuse to quit. One more step. This is where winners are made.